Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today I was doing some maintenance on the CJ5 and I figured I'd show you all the pros and cons of a disc brake conversion and also the components needed. So let's go get started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need on a disc brake conversion is a dual reservoir master cylinder. The original single reservoir is not going to produce enough volume or pressure to drive the calipers up front, so you'll need to upgrade this first. It's also going to be a no-brainer on safety anyway, because the original single reservoir, if you had a leak anywhere, whether it's your front or rear brake line portion, you lose all brakes. Number 2 on the list is going to be what they call a residual check valve. This one's a 2-pound and it's made by Wildwood. You can find them at Summit Racing, maybe even local auto parts supplier. Basically what it does is on drum brakes you have your wheel cylinders, your shoes, and your springs, and when you push the brake pedal in, the pressure overcomes the springs and presses the shoes against the drum. When you let off the brake pedal, those springs will compress the shoes and also the wheel cylinder and send the fluid back to the master cylinder. So it's important that this is put on, because when you let off your brake, your calipers would still be stuck and braking. Another thing you're going to need is what they call a proportioning valve. That's going to be located basically on the rear circuit of the brake system, which would be the for the rear drums. What a proportioning valve does is it dials in your brake bias. So ideally you want 60% of your brake bias to be up front and 40% on your rear. You can change it however you want, but without that proportioning valve, brake fluid is going to take the path of least resistance, and in this case with the master cylinder being up front, most likely it'll take it to the front where the calipers are. So moving on, as far as backing plates go, you're going to use a late 70s K5 Blazer or a GMC half-ton, or basically any GM half-ton truck. These specific backing plates came off of K5. The half-ton shares the same bolt pattern for the backing plate as the Willys Jeeps. They use a Dana 25 and Dana 27 axle. The next thing is calipers off the same truck. So it's going to be late 70s GM single piston calipers that are non-sliding. So it's a fixed caliper. The next thing, it's going to be rotors off it has to be specifically a 1978 CJ5. So you're going to unpress your hub from your drum, press in some longer studs, and then press it onto your rotor here. Then also, as far as brake hoses go, these are going to be for the late 70s GM. They will fit. That's one modification you're going to have to do to make these work. I'm on the other side here. I just was basically checking the oil level in the knuckle here. The disadvantage to this brake conversion is you don't have easy access to check the oil level in these knuckles. So basically the modification is you have to grind down the knuckle here to get some clearance on the caliper, and you're also going to have to grind down right here on where the caliper piston goes to make sure you have enough clearance. And also you're going to have to change your fill plugs on your knuckles to a recessed type, not a pipe plug style. I've had this disc brake conversion on here since I restored the Jeep. It's something, I thought was necessary to do with the modern traffic, and, just less headache on keeping the drum brakes all dialed in on all four corners. Really the only disadvantage to these is the remanufactured calipers you get from the auto parts store. I've already had to go through 4 calipers on this. They just like to seize up for some reason. I don't know if it's because I'm only driving it, maybe once a week or so. But just be prepared for the calipers to go out. I guess another disadvantage would be you can't easily check your oil in your knuckles. You have to disassemble it. That's what I did here and I decided to make this video. I was just checking the oil in the knuckles. Alright y'all, well that's going to conclude today's video on the disc brake conversion. I hope this helps y'all out. I believe this is the most important thing you can do to these old Jeeps. It really helps with the safety of them and just, you know, the drivability. Just a quick recap on the parts needed. You're going to need the dual reservoir master cylinder. You're going to need a 2-pound residual check valve. You're going to need a proportioning valve. You're going to need backing plates off a late 70s, specifically I believe it's a 78, 79, and 80 half-ton Chevrolet. These came off a K5 Blazer. You're going to need the calipers off that same truck. You're also going to need a rotor off a specific 1978 Jeep CJ5. That's when AMC was making these Jeeps. Then you're going to need to grind down the knuckles. You're going to need to grind on the caliper, on the casting where the piston is until it fits right. And you're also going to need the recessed 1/2-inch pipe plugs for your steering knuckles. So I hope that helps y'all out, and y'all have a good one.